I want to thank everyone for coming in from your respective states today. My name is Congressman Frank Guinta, representing the 1st Congressional District of New Hampshire. I want to thank my colleague, Congresswoman Kuster, from the 2nd Congressional District in New Hampshire for her leadership with me on this issue and for her tireless dedication and fight to the epidemic in creating the bipartisan task force to combat heroin, where we now have 80 members of Congress who are engaged on a regular basis. I also want to thank Jessica Nickel. I don't know where Jessica went. She's here somewhere, from the Addiction Policy Forum and their partners for working with the task force to organize this afternoon's event. And I want to thank in particular the families who have taken time to share their stories, reflect on your experiences, and guide us through the legislative process. I can't begin to imagine the losses that you've had and the challenges that you have personally experienced. I only know them through stories, but they are heartwarming. They allow me to work as a passionate member of this body to try to work on your behalf to at least ensure that the future is brighter than our past. And I am particularly inspired by your resiliency. I have spoken to so many people from New Hampshire and around the country. Your experiences put a face to a challenging problem relative to addiction, but I think it's critical that we need to see those faces. You are not statistics, you are people with loved ones, and we want to make sure that the nation understands that. I know that the reality of this epidemic shouldn't necessarily be just a newspaper headline. It shouldn't just be a soundbite on the news. This is about our family, our friends, real people. And I will never cease to be astounded by the burdens that you all have carried, and the grace with which you bring your testimony and the passion with which you bring your testimony. I know from the Griffin family, the Skelton family, the Rosa family, and the Zhang Fang family of my home state of New Hampshire that this testimony is not easy, but we need to witness this testimony. We need the country to witness this testimony, and we need other people around the country to understand and appreciate the disease of addiction. And we will continue to do everything as a House and as a Senate to work with you and on behalf of your interests to continue to find solutions that I think Congress can step up and play an important role. When I first got elected in 2014, there was not one question that was asked of me during that campaign about heroin, opioid use, or addiction. But about a year later, New Hampshire, the state that I represent, went from one of the lowest per capita states in terms of deaths to one of the highest. It happened almost overnight. I have, just like many of you, personal stories about people that I know, people that I don't know, but I talk a lot about one young lady named Abby Lazat, who I met earlier this year, who was in the throes of heroin addiction and was days away from dying. And she was 8 months pregnant. And by the grace of God, a nurse that she had previously contacted helped her, got her into a hospital. And today, Abby is 7 months clean with an 8-month-old son. And I text with Abby weekly to let her know what we're doing in Washington, to check in on her. And I am proud to call her my friend. And I am proud of her accomplishment. And she is now, in her sobriety, speaking with kids at schools about her experience. The tremendous leadership that she's showing as a parent, as someone who is in recovery, I think is a hero in my mind, and an example of a bright light and we want to try to see as much of that as we possibly can. So thank you all for being here. This is incredibly important for us and for you. I know it's emotional. So I appreciate your willingness to publicly talk about the challenges that you and your family members have gone through.